It's easy to find movies that bend our minds on Netflix or any other online platform. Most of them are already popularized, but usually they have already been consumed. So today we're going to take a look at 7 movies you've probably never heard of that will bend your mind when you watch them. You will regret not having seen them before. Let's start with something that sounds impossible. Picture this. It's the English Civil War. Soldiers are lost in a field, and suddenly they're tripping on psychedelic mushrooms while questioning the very nature of reality. This is A Field in England from 2013, and it's unlike anything you've ever seen. Shot entirely in black and white, this film follows deserting soldiers who stumble into a field where nothing is as it seems. But here's where it gets philosophical. The mushroom-induced hallucinations aren't just random, trippy visuals. They represent something much deeper: how perception shapes reality. Think about it. When these characters are under the influence, are they seeing truth or illusion? The film suggests that maybe our normal, sober perception is just as unreliable. We walk through life assuming we see reality clearly, but what if we're always in some kind of altered state? What if consciousness itself is just one big hallucination? The black and white cinematography isn't just an artistic choice. It strips away the comfort of color, forcing us to see the world in its most basic form: raw, unfiltered, disturbing. Now, imagine this scenario. You're an aging actress, and technology offers you immortality. Not physical immortality, but digital. Your consciousness, your face, your voice, all preserved forever in a computer. But here's the catch. You lose control over how you're used. This is the nightmare presented in The Congress from 2013. Robin Wright plays herself, literally, as she agrees to be scanned and digitized by a movie studio. But the philosophical question cuts deep. If a perfect digital copy of you exists, which one is the real you? The aging, dying physical body, or the eternal digital consciousness? The film splits into 2 parts. The first half is live-action reality. The second is animated fantasy. This isn't just a visual gimmick. It's showing us how technology might literally change the nature of human experience. In the digital world, you can be anyone, look like anything, experience impossible realities. But there's a dark twist. When everyone can be anything, does identity have any meaning? When reality becomes completely malleable, do we lose our humanity? The Congress doesn't give easy answers. It forces us to confront what we might willingly sacrifice for the promise of eternal life. Here's something that will make your skin crawl. A mysterious vagrant appears at the door of a wealthy family's home. He's polite, charming, almost supernatural in his ability to manipulate people. But there's something deeply wrong with him. This is Borgman from 2013, and it's the most unsettling film you'll probably never watch. The film never explains who Borgman really is. Is he human? Is he the devil? Is he a representation of our deepest fears about social class and vulnerability? The ambiguity is intentional and terrifying. Philosophically, Borgman represents the thin line between civilization and chaos. This wealthy family thinks they're safe in their suburban bubble, but Borgman shows how quickly that safety can be destroyed. He doesn't use violence. He uses psychology, manipulation, the dark desires that already exist within these people. The film asks a haunting question. What separates us from monsters? Is it our social status, our wealth, our moral codes, or are we all just one encounter away from revealing our true savage nature? European cinema has always been willing to explore uncomfortable truths, and Borgman is perhaps the most uncomfortable of all. It holds up a mirror to bourgeois society and shows us something we don't want to see. Now prepare yourself for something truly extreme. Hard to Be a God from 2013 is a 3-hour descent into medieval hell. Based on a Soviet science fiction novel, it follows scientists observing a planet stuck in its own dark ages. But here's the philosophical nightmare. They can observe, but they cannot interfere. Imagine being a time traveler, watching the worst of human history unfold, having the power to help, but being forbidden from acting. This is the moral dilemma at the heart of the film. The scientists have advanced knowledge, advanced technology, but they must watch civilization destroy itself. The visual style is deliberately overwhelming. Mud, blood, filth, and degradation fill every frame. This isn't just medieval realism, it's showing us what happens when reason and enlightenment are completely absent from society. The film asks, is human progress inevitable? Or are we always just one step away from sliding back into barbarism? When you watch modern society, when you see how quickly civilization can break down, Hard to Be a God becomes less science fiction and more prophecy. The 3-hour runtime isn't self-indulgent. It's necessary. You need to feel trapped in this world, just like the characters. You need to experience the hopelessness, the weight of witnessing suffering you cannot prevent. Let's shift to something more poetic, but equally profound. Tropical Malady from 2004 splits into two completely different stories. The first half follows a romance between a soldier and a local man in rural Thailand. The second half transforms into a mystical tale of a soldier hunting a shape-shifting tiger in the jungle. But this isn't really two different films. It's one story about the transformation of love itself. The film suggests that deep, true love doesn't just change how we feel. It literally changes what we are. In Thai folklore, humans and animals exist on a spectrum. The boundary between human and beast isn't fixed. Love, according to this film, is the force that can shift those boundaries. When you truly love someone, you don't just open your heart, you open your entire being to transformation. The jungle becomes a metaphor for the unconscious mind. In the civilized world of the first half, love is polite, careful, restrained. In the jungle of the second half, love becomes primal, dangerous, transformative. The film asks, what is love really? Is it an emotion, a choice, or is it a fundamental force of nature that can literally reshape reality? Here's where things get really weird. The Endless from 2017 presents us with a cult that has discovered something impossible, a way to manipulate time itself. Two brothers who escaped this cult years ago return to visit, only to discover that the cult members haven't aged and time seems to loop in impossible ways. This isn't just science fiction, it's a philosophical exploration of free will versus determinism. If time is a loop, if everything that happens has happened before and will happen again, do our choices matter? The film combines cosmic horror with intimate human drama. The cult isn't traditionally evil. They've found a way to achieve a kind of immortality, but at the cost of growth, change, and genuine human experience. Think about it. If you could live forever, but only by repeating the same experiences over and over, would that be paradise or hell? The Endless suggests it might be both. The film draws heavily from Lovecraftian horror, where humans encounter forces beyond their comprehension. But instead of tentacled monsters, the incomprehensible force is time itself. Finally, let's talk about World of Tomorrow from 2015. In just 17 minutes, this animated short film explores more philosophical territory than most feature films manage in 2 hours. The story follows a little girl who receives a call from her future clone, hundreds of years in the future. The clone has lived multiple lifetimes, experienced love, loss, and the gradual degradation of human meaning in a technological world. But here's the beautiful paradox. Even as the future clone describes a world where human experience has become increasingly artificial and meaningless, she does so with profound wisdom and poetic beauty. The film asks, what makes life meaningful? Is it our mortality, our struggles, our capacity for love and loss? In a world where death is optional and experience can be artificially created, what remains essentially human? The animation style is deliberately simple, almost childlike. This contrast between simple visuals and complex philosophical ideas creates a unique emotional experience. You're watching profound truths explained through the lens of childhood innocence. You made it to the end, and now, the question I asked at the beginning, Why do these forgotten films matter more than the blockbusters? Because blockbusters entertain. These films disturb. And in disturbance, there is transformation. So, if you're tired of predictable stories and you're ready to confront the strange, the broken, and the unknowable, subscribe. Thank you for watching.